I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome to another political recap stream here on the Oiski Live channel. Joining me to talk about some stuff that we were talking about right up until the moment I had to hit start is TrupsLP. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
How is Trups today?
Trying to make sure that lineup on the audio is easy for you.
It's entirely my fault. The very first, so for those who don't know, we've taken up a new hobby of making our audio better. So we both put it through Audacity, so we record our end of it. And he'll send his version to me, and then I will sync it all up. But because I'm a div, I forget that I talk over him a lot, and because I'm a dickhead. And so it invariably ends with me spending far too long trying to fix the audio, which is fine. I'm at the computer tomorrow working, so I will fix it regardless, and it will be absolutely smashing. Because the last two, if you haven't heard them on Spotify, sound vastly different to how they sound on YouTube, because it turns out OBS and Discord hate Trups.
Yeah.
How is Trups
so
anyway?
Kudos to those who sit here during the live show
you suffer
deal
for us.
with my you deal with my from the bucket audio.
Yeah, it's not great. Anyway, how is Trups today?
I'm okay. We've had glorious amounts of dreary ass days. The kind of day that you wake up and you go, I'd rather just
Not.
curl back up and go back to sleep.
I felt that this morning, and then three of my nieces, there's been a little bit of a rejig in the house, so some of my nieces now have a bedroom, which is awesome. The problem is, they were up just before I was, and the only reason I was up as early as I was because they were trying to be quiet, but by being quiet, they were making an obscene amount of noise. So I just roll out of bed and flop on the floor and go, well, I'm here now, I may as well get dressed.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a common occurrence. Like, you try so hard to like sneak around, and by doing so you hit something 10 times harder,
creak
and then
a
it just
step,
falls.
the usual. With them though, they have no it's almost like a form of depth perception. They can't understand how to be quieter. And I've demonstrated this actually. I've run through the house several times to prove it, and they didn't hear me once. Even on stairs that I know have creaks on, I know where to step on them to avoid it. Simple as that.
Mhm.
Or I leap over the step because I know how to land on my tiptoe and use it as a spring, therefore not generating as much noise, but also being able to generate more power on my foot to move faster. I taught my nieces how to run faster. You know what they did? They nearly broke their ankles by stomping their feet into the ground. It was adorable.
Bless them. They are trying so hard.
I mean, I understand it. When I was a kid, we all had our own way of going down the stairs. Mine was on my chest with my hands in front of me, face first, because I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, I mean, okay, there's a child in all of us who, when you go up the stairs, you're tempted to become a bear.
Oh, you run up with your hands as well?
Yeah.
I used to do it until I was in my mid-teens. I tried to
that's about until when things hurt.
Yeah, I tried to do it recently to see why I did it, and I realized I can't. I'm too tall. Everything felt weird, and also it felt like I was trying to rock climb up something that would not allow me to rock climb.
Yes, quite.
Not without back support, anyway.
But
Okay.
but how was Meg this week?
All right. Yeah, I've thrown myself into making more content and trying to be more proactive in the face of YouTube's annual make me feel like crap because YouTube thing. Promoted more Rumble. We're doing all right over there. We're growing at 382 followers now, which is awesome.
Mm.
We made a long form video for the main channel on Riley Dennis because I thought I need to do some longer format videos to help my channel. It stopped me losing subs for a couple of days, so that clearly worked.
Ooh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I thought so, and then I started losing more again when I uploaded regular stuff. So I'll make
Shit.
no, it's fine, it's fine. I'll make more. I'll throw myself back into the game soon. I've got extra topics to work through, and yeah, doing all right. I've been going to the gym, smashing it as always. Shredding is doing well.
Smashing.
Smashing, yeah, absolutely. Thornberry.
Did you see the Twitter post that I added you?
I did, and I've forgotten it. I remember seeing it because I think I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the few times I checked my notifications.
Yes, for all those who do not know, I sent him a thing that says, you guys don't even know what propaganda is. And then the comment underneath that says, isn't that when a British person looks at something really hard?
It's accurate.
It's great. It's great because I play it back in my head. Oh yeah, it's a propaganda.
Propaganda. Oh god,
Yeah.
that's such. The annoying thing is I like play on words. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate English slang though. I hate.
Really?
I do because it's so easy to take the piss out of us for it. It's so crap.
That's fair. But I mean, it could be worse. You could be Irish, and everything that related to you is just a joke about
Alcoholism.
potatoes. Oh,
Yeah, that too.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, you could also argue you relate a lot of things to the Irish. You can relate to the Scottish because half the time you can't understand a word that comes out of their bloody mouths.
Yes,
It's incredible.
I'm sure they'd be thrilled to know that we can't tell the difference sometimes.
How is it that and if you're Irish or Scottish and you're offended by this, good. How is it whenever I've called tech support and I get someone who is from Ireland or Scotland, you have the most thick accent I've ever encountered? To the point I have to just say hangs up.
Listen. If I ever have to call tech support and I get a motherfucker named John, and I'm talking to a
I know where you're going now.
a Sri Lankan
Outsourced.
like inside a call center in Dubai, like there's no fucking way that man's name is John.
Just a quick thing. He may have said Sri
Shush,
Lankan
maybe.
and Sri Lankan and then Dubai. Just to be clear, he knows they're not the same place or country.
I am aware, but you could get either. Because the thing is, you could get Middle Eastern, but you also could get Indian.
I once had a gentleman. I know what his real name is because I know him, but he he was telling everyone his name was Jeff, and honestly, I had to ask him if he could do it. Say my name's Jeff, and it turns out no, with a certain accent, you really can't say it.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry. It felt a bit edgy, but I was okay with it.
Now for those in the chat who might be like, wow, Trump sounds like he's really kind of racist. I want to point out that one of the guys who I enjoy his presence the most in terms of, I don't know if you're like me, but when I go to stores, I try to make relationships with the people that I know are there a lot.
Yeah, I talk to everyone in the shops I know. Well,
I go to a place to get my shisha, right? And there's a guy there. Well, the owner's name is Wazi, but the guy who's the manager, his name is Avdol.
Yeah.
And I thought he said Abdul at first, which would have also been fair.
Yeah.
But no, he tried to correct me. I'm like, Avdol. I'm like, oh, I'm never going to forget your name. You have a JoJo name.
So
you have a name from a JoJo character.
I can relate to that. One of the guys who works in the corner shop near me, they're all from Sri Lanka. They bought it from a guy my mum used to work for him, so that's why I've always loved this shop. One of the newer guys that works there, who's lovely bloke. His name you can't forget though, because it fits within a sentence, because his name is Senten. So
Oh,
I'm
well
never. I
done.
can't forget that because he had to explain it to me, and when he did, and I realized I was like, I can't forget. I'm terrible with names, but I can't
Mhm.
forget that name
Oh yeah,
because it's
but
it's yeah.
to loop the story back around. He says one of the things that I've never really like realized this, but one of my favorite compliments to get is always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love that compliment. That is my favorite thing.
Someone in the chat,
um,
True King of Scotland said, "Was that a JoJo reference?" I assume JoJo is some kind of cartoon show.
it is an anime, yes.
Okay. I don't know
Because the
anime, so
character,
I have to just say apparently it was.
yes, because the character in JoJo's name is Muhammad Avdol,
Oh, okay. Can't
and
forget. Oh,
so
okay. That I
I
mean,
can't
the
I
only thing.
can't not forget now, right? It's always there. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. So, what has been going on in the United States for the past 2 weeks? And I know I've been putting some stuff on the server. I don't know if you saw any of it. Um, I did put a few of your tweets, by the way. I've got like, oh yes, the emotional fortitude of a Democrat in times of crisis. I thought that was funny. There was also, oh, where was it? I'll scroll back. Oh, Cory Booker's cropped up here and there with his tweets. And
Oh
also
yes, I did see that.
there's a tweet from DC Drano. Dear women of New York City, your last line of defense against violent criminals attacking and sexually assaulting you in public was just removed. The cops are defunded and the DAs won't prosecute. And there's a guy being arrested, and I don't know what the context is.
Okay, so there are a couple things we can tackle. Let's do something in order.
Okay.
So let's first talk about Trump and his case against E. Jean Carroll.
Oh yeah, he's guilty, isn't he?
Yes. Well, okay. So here's the complicated part about that whole thing. So it
Yeah.
was a civil case, right? So the
Mhm.
civil case had a jury, and the charges that he was found guilty of, and that's technically not even the right word. It's he was found liable
Yeah.
for sexual abuse or sexual assault and defamation.
So I have a question here.
Yeah.
If he's found
Yes.
liable of it, surely this then becomes something criminal. Because sexual abuse, sexual assault, that is a heinous crime.
Ah, yes. While you would be correct in any other circumstance, in civil cases that does not necessarily have to be true.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
So
that.
for this case, I'm going to give you a like a different kind of example. Imagine we were much older than we are, and 30 years ago, I you and I knew each other, and today I said 30 years ago, Meg stole my ice cream, and I'm going to write a book about it and talk about all the things that Meg did when he stole my ice cream. And you, as the person who was also there, goes, no, I did not. And I go, a liar, he's defaming me. And then I go to take you to court.
Yeah.
And in that court case, I tell everybody my side of the story. And you tell everybody your side of the story, or you have a lawyer do it for you. And then a jury gets to decide whether or not they just believe one person or the other. Now, keep in mind, defamation, right? The defamation charge of this is solely by you saying, no, I didn't steal your ice cream.
Yeah.
So, in order to find him liable for the defamation, they had to find him liable for the sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Now, they can't prove the sexual abuse, and in fact, the jury said, we don't know. But they found him guilty of defamation. And I want you to ask yourself, how would somebody defend themselves against an accusation of any kind if you are not allowed to say, no, I did not?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what happened. And that is actually what that whole case would look like. And apparently, nowadays, people want, there are more people who wish to sue Trump over these things, which was exactly what we had thought was going to happen in the first place. So what do you think? What do you think of this I guess standard of justice, quote unquote?
I don't. It doesn't come. Sorry for that. My interpretation of justice is apparently a little bit different from these civil cases. This feels
Yes.
strange. This just feels very money oriented and not motivated by actual justice. It's motivated by punishing somebody. Because I didn't see this as a trial. It was portrayed as such, but I'm not convinced. And I do a lot, as many of you will know from my main channel, I do a lot of crime content. Shorts now on Halls of Injustice as well, for those who are interested.
Shorts.
Yeah, I do Halls of Injustice shorts now for potentials and ones that I don't think of entire video worthy. Ones also I've been waiting on for years for resolutions. Yeah, but I've done a lot. I've been covering a lot of crime, and I'm trying to expand to cover American crap as well. And I say crap because a lot of the different types of trials are best demonstrated at their worst in your country.
Yes.
And this certainly comes across as one of them. Because I don't understand it beyond being a reason to take money from someone.
Yes.
And saying they're guilty, but at the same time not actually prove. Now all you can do is say if he runs, in the primaries you can say he's a sexual abuser. You've got the buzzwords on your side.
One has to be very careful with saying that like that, though. And in fact, there have been some people on the news who have had to
issue apologies,
retract and reword what they've said, because of course everybody who initially came out swinging that Donald Trump was a sexual abuser, proven in court. And they said, "Whoa, hold on. No. That's not what was proven. He was proven liable for defamation, and by that extent, he was liable for a sexual assault. However, there were no criminal charges, and there are no criminal charges, and there will be no criminal charges because no one can prove it."
Yeah.
Thus, what you have is a scarlet letter that you can brand somebody.
Yeah.
They can't take it off. And they also cannot. As soon as this thing came out, he had I think a rally that night, and he came out swinging, saying it was bullshit.
Yeah, he's appealing it.
This didn't happen. And E. Jean Carroll even had the audacity to say, "I'm tempted to sue him again for that."
Yeah, so he did. I will admit, it's very cheeky after such a result to immediately potentially defame and cause it to run over, have another. To be fair, he got fined. He got what? It was $5 million or something.
Yes,
it's not a huge issue for him, really, is it? So if he
I'm not sure, but sure.
Let's say he has money, right? Let's assume he has still. Yeah, he's still got his golf courses at least.
Yeah, true.
But he has assets that would pay for that. I remember when we first spoke about this, and people were celebrating him going into that courtroom, or whatever it was, that room he was going into, and my first thought was this looked like another excuse just to parade him as if he was going. Do you remember people saying he was going to be arrested, he was going to be sent to prison and shit? Motherfucker, how could you all be such fake news about that? Not you, those that said it.
Yes,
this was not anything like that. It didn't resemble. It was just. It was trial by fire with his feet on the coals already. It's not justice. Justice is meant to be blind.
Well, that and I don't honestly think that what happened. Well, and also to be clear, the image that you are referring to, the one where he was paraded into a thing, that was actually for the Alvin Bragg deposition.
Oh, really? That was something else.
And yes, that one was for the counts of financial impropriety that he had done.
Yeah.
That again, still not so cleanly done, but here we are.
Yeah.
So there is that as well. But more to the point, yes, people are parading this idea around that he is, well, more or less, they are just using a lot of these cases as an excuse to basically drum up all of the negative stuff that they can, preempting the election season.
Yeah, it's coming up fast, isn't it?
It is apparently 3 months away is the first Republican debate.
Do we even know who's going to be there for certain?
I know two. Who has announced for president? Let's see.
Trump has, hasn't he?
He has, yes.
Is he going as
so
Republican
Donald
or is
Trump-
he going? Oh, he's going Republican. Yeah.
Yes. So we have Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy. I know that name, but I don't know why I know that name. Larry Elder.
Larry Elder.
Yeah.
I know that name.
Yep, he was a gubernatorial candidate in California.
Yeah, that's how I know him. He was the guy who was considered the wrong kind of black.
That's right.
And he was actually harangued by people who were in turn accused of being racist because they were wearing monkey masks, weren't they?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that was racist, by the way.
Yes, it was. Then you have Asa Hutchinson, who is a former governor of Arkansas.
Okay. According to some people, I saw this the other day, and I will admit, when I saw some Americans who, someone said Arkansas, oh my life, I cried with laughter when I saw that.
Yeah.
It was something I might have put on the server earlier. Actually, somebody said Arkansas, and it just made me cry.
It is terrible, actually.
It's a hate crime, apparently.
Yes, and also I don't blame them because we have a Kansas, and then we have AR Kansas.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is it Arkansas?
You guys do like to have different phrases and pronunciations, so it's normal, really. It's called American, not English, right?
Yeah.
Everyone speaks the King.
Well, I think it's because they are Native American terms.
That would be it too, as well.
Mm-hmm. Other Republican candidates include Senator Tim Scott.
Before you continue,
yes.
Is it goober? What is it? That word, goober?
Gubernatorial.
That's the governor thing, right?
It's governors. Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify that for those who don't know, because I remember seeing gubernatorial once because of Monday Matt mentioning he was once a candidate for it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was on his Twitter years ago, and I was like, "But what the fuck is that?" And I think it was last year I actually bothered to look it up. I never knew you had like such a unique phrase for governor candidacy.
I think it's just because there's no good word to say governor, like gubernatorial.
Governorship.
Yeah, I guess, but like,
yeah,
if you're using it as an adjective, right?
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't really work. I mean, gubernatorial is funnier, so it does make you sound like you're a goober.
Oh yeah, it's hard. It's not like it's awkward to say. It's definitely awkward to say.
It is, because I only until you said it did I actually know how you bloody well say it. I didn't know before that. I'm like gubernational,
Sure, why not?
Gubernatorial. Okay.
Now, apparently, actually, Tim Scott is the last Republican who has already announced.
I know that name as well, but is that the minority guy?
He is a black senator from South Carolina. Yes,
that is not the guy I'm thinking of. Then.
Okay. Well, he is. Honestly,
is he the minority leader guy? In the House? No? Okay. No, I'm thinking of someone. I was thinking of someone else. Some white guy, when I
think so, yeah. But I think he does hold a position in the Senate. I just don't remember what. Anyway. You have Democratic presidential candidates who are also throwing their hat in the ring. You have Marianne Williamson, who I don't know if you remember from the 2020 race. She was criticized as being the crystal lady, spiritual advisor, right? Which I think is kind of unfair, genuinely, because I don't think that's her fault. for being like, what's the word? Like, oh god, I can't think of the word. Like eccentric. Yeah, not their fault that they're interesting.
Just the thing here, I went and looked up Tim Scott, and I fucking love his Wikipedia crack all my life. First of all, he's unmarried. When entering public life at age of 30, he said he was a virgin. Why do we even need to know this in his Wikipedia? He's an evangelical Protestant, 57 years old, and he owns an insurance company. Yeah, you're above board, mate. Why does anyone need to know if he's had sex or not before an age of? Oh, come on.
To prove how committed he is to the part of being an evangelical.
He's not trying to be a pope or anything, though, is he?
Fucking don't know what he's trying to do.
Although, if he was, I'm sure he'd be perfect for the job.
Surely. But yeah, you also have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Democrat.
I saw him. His name's been floating about a lot recently. So, what is he involved in politics at all?
Yeah. He is, I believe. Let's see here. Was he a senator? No.
Robert F. Kennedy is dead. Oh, Jr.
No, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to. Yeah. He was. Okay. He's announced his
He was
candidacy.
once a best-selling author and environmental lawyer who has worked on issues such as clean water.
He's already kind of stuck though. He's got anti-vaccine advocacy on his resume. For Democrats, that might not resonate so well.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I know that he is the more moderate candidate that people have been wanting to like push. If you are, of the opinion that something needs to be done, but you don't want to commit somebody bigger.
Mm-hmm. So I've just looked him up. His political career is non-existent. He had considered running for office for New York Senator in 2000. In 2008, he expressed that he did not wish to be appointed to the Senate by New York Governor David Paterson because he felt it would take too much time away from his family. He's never been a politician, apparently, according to this anyway.
Okay. So then, let's see, who else do we have here?
Interesting choice. He's got the Kennedy.
Yes, and then we have people who haven't announced, like Ron DeSantis, that everyone has been saying is going to announce next week.
Will he announce?
He's been doing a bunch of what one could only say is campaigning, but without campaigning for something.
Okay.
You understand?
No, I get you.
Like he's been putting his hat in the ring for all the different stuff. He's been there, but we're collectively not quite sure what he's doing yet. He wants to put his hat in the ring, we're pretty sure, but he just hasn't yet. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at in the coming months. But yeah,
it's getting interesting, isn't it? Because now things are starting to spice up. We've got stuff going on over here with politics, but nothing's been. We don't. Our election season isn't like yours. Yours is a whole year spectacle, pantomime. Ours is like 12 weeks from the moment it's announced. Also,
yeah, we get to have fun with it for a while.
Yeah, you guys raise a shitload of money as well. We just have donors in the background pretending they don't give as much as they do. Tax breaks, yo.
Right, exactly that. And also, people totally don't hide their money in PACs as a way to mask their donations.
Agreed. That's totally the case.
That would never happen.
Never. Not in a million years, mate. No, it's all above board. In fact, if you want to hide your money for safety, I highly recommend you give it to us here. That's Super Chat button.
Yes, that'd be great.
We are very trustworthy.
But yeah, so besides more and more lawsuits and attempted things against Trump, that's kind of what we're looking at.
Okay, so out of curiosity, with those that run against Biden, how does that work? Because he's the sitting president. How do you contest him? Presiding.
So you can technically, but the way to do it would essentially be, not quite sure.
Oh, okay. This could be interesting.
Well, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know how you would contest that. I don't remember the last time we ever saw a incumbent president actually have a primary challenge.
I'd love to see it, and I'm intrigued to see how anyone can say that Biden is the perfect man for the job. The bastard is barely ever seen. When he is seen, he fumbles his words, or he fumbles his own body movement. I don't understand what's going on with him, because I've heard it's again that less is more thing. They did it before with they said they did it when during the primaries when he first ran for office. He was barely there. He only appeared at the debates vaguely. He got smacked the living shit about by everyone, and somehow Grandpa Joe, who sniffs kids and doesn't think you're black if you vote Republican, managed to pull it out the bag with the biggest win in American voting history. Numbers-wise, anyway.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
More popular than Obama. I mean, that was impressive.
It was that.
I mean, there's another word, but I don't want to use it on air without getting muted.
That's fair. So that's what I have for Trump. What was the other thing that you had wanted to mention? I forget what the hell we were talking about. We were going to talk about at the beginning. It wasn't Cory Booker.
Yeah, no, it's just stuff I've been dumping over there. I don't remember. The guy in New York. Dear women of New York City, your last line of defense against violent criminals was just removed.
Right.
What's that about?
Jordan Neely.
Who's Jordan Neely?
So Jordan Neely was a Michael Jackson impersonator who lived in New York, and he had what can only be described as a bout of I don't want to say like dementia. That's not right. But a mental health break. Episode.
Yeah.
And that happened. And he threatened a bunch of people on the subway. And so a former Marine and like 3 other people put him in a chokehold. And actually, after they were done putting him in a chokehold, they actually then attended to him after he passed out. But he was still breathing, but he blacked out. So after that, then Jordan died, and
sucks.
they are calling the Marine a murderer. Even this CNN article that I have pulled up, Jordan Neely, the homeless street artist who was the victim of a fatal chokehold on a New York City subway, was remembered at his funeral Friday as a well-known and loved performer. So Daniel Penny is the man that you remember seeing being arrested.
Yeah. So first thing, I have seen the video of him doing on a tube train, doing some Michael Jackson stuff, and it's fun to watch. I mean, I know the guy has some mental health concerns. Mental health issues. But these guys would not have known that. They would not know he had schizophrenia, which thank you, Bookworm Addicts in the chat for that. They would not have known this. Therefore, they acted based on instinct to do what they believed was the right thing. And they tended to him. It is not murder. Because murder
would it have actually mattered.
Murder is premeditated. This was not that.
Yeah, but also, nor would it really have mattered if he had thought about it, because the man did also threaten people.
Context always matters.
Well, right. And that's one of the biggest issues with this whole story, is that he threatened people. People on the subway say okay, well, this is a problem, and we would like to commend this man for doing what he did,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not good enough for a lot of people, and
They
it will
want to be
never be
seen.
good enough.
They want to be seen as the white savior, or use it as a. But this is clearly racially motivated. But it wasn't that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be so blind and belligerent on purpose, because you only weaken what you claim to stand for.
Right.
Charged with second-degree manslaughter, apparently.
Yep, which I think is quite a lot, all things considered.
So, what is the difference between that and first or third? I don't know what any of these were. I'm not.
Second degree, it means that it's not like a complete accident, but also it's not like it wasn't a complete accident, but you also didn't intend for it to happen.
Yeah,
right?
so
Like
someone acting recklessly and aware of their potential fatal actions. That's what some attorney of law says. It also says instead of stopping, they continue with their reckless acts, and this leads to another person's passing. That's not what happened here at all, though. He was subdued. He was restrained. He was removed as a threat, but only to the point of passing out, and then he was tended to make sure he had proper care.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't carry on. They didn't stamp on his head or anything like that.
Correct. That's true. And in fact, putting him in the recovery position is also one of the key aspects to his defense. Like, clearly it was not a fatal chokehold if the person outside of the chokehold was still breathing and then was actually being taken care of. The problem is that nobody has an answer as to why he died otherwise. I think we're still waiting for a lot of things like the coroner's report and stuff like that.
A talk screen will be very interesting, I'm sure. I'm kind of.
Oh, yes.
You wait. Someone's going to lump this in with George Floyd. George?
COVID? Yeah, George Floyd.
Yeah. And I'm just sort of thinking, but hang on, didn't he also have freakish amounts of drugs in his system?
Yeah, he had a fatal dose of fentanyl in his system, but he also had COVID in his system, and based on all other non-COVID-related deaths, he should have actually been considered a COVID death.
Yeah. But as we all know, even though there's COVID in the system, and vast amounts of fentanyl, we all know it was that knee on the back of the neck. Because I don't want to get used off YouTube, everyone. We have to toe the line here.
Truly.
Yeah. In this instance,
if you want,
I've seen that video, by the way. I've seen the knee one as well, but the subduing thing. I've seen that video. It was shared to Twitter, and a lot of keyboard warriors were very much like, "Yeah, no, that's murder." And I sort of saw it and thought, I've seen other tube videos shared at the same time of guys punching women in the face and no one intervening and then getting off the train. And this woman's just been beaten up and she just stood there, took it, he got off. It's always racially motivated as well, by the way. I don't want to insert which races, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but I can't say why it does because YouTube. But it fascinates me how these are all American, by the way. These are all being shared underneath that and showing other people intervening when some guys are getting a bit too aggressive. And every time, if it's a white guy as the aggressor, they have been beaten up. But not if it's somebody else. And that cowardice is astonishing.
What do you mean? It should be typical at this point. There are so many videos, right? And we won't even say like it's videos of like one race or the other. But if you see somebody actively committing a crime or harassing somebody, it is not wrong of you to stop that thing from happening. I don't understand how we got to the point where like protecting your community and protecting your home and the people who live near you I have lost the point where that is now a bad thing.
So there's a few points I'd like to make here. Firstly, there was a video shared to Twitter today and on Instagram by Crowder and a few others of some teenagers doing this house challenge where they walk into people's homes in England and claim to mistake it for a study group. Many Americans in the reply said the following: "You're not leaving that house alive if you do it in mine." In England, we do that, and it's the person who shoots them that goes to prison. Okay. The second thing you mentioned there, that inability to step in. When I was 17, I've told this story so many times. I was at my dad's in Margate in a flat. I was a top floor flat. I looked out the window because my dad was coming home from work and I was bored. I was playing with this tiny little mini remote control car that sits in the controller and charges in that, and then it was fun. I saw a man beat a woman. 17 years old. I go straight downstairs and I beat him. Simples. If I did that today, if that man was not white, racism would be accused, or form of intolerance. If that man was not a man but a trap, I'm not saying any more than that, I'd be accused of a form of phobia. Any excuse to alienate, vilify the person defending, because England love to tear down those that could be identified as doing something good. I don't want to say hero because that's not what it is. It's just doing something good, and that's what happens in England. Because apparently you're not allowed to be nice here. So if I did the same thing today that I did when I was 17, which would have been 2003, 20 years ago, then they bought me a kebab. Fam, we're fine. Because the kebabi was right next to where they got assaulted. And I'm like, yo, let's go. But if it happened now, nah, fam, I'd be, picture of me be all over Twitter and people would be saying, no, this guy's a racist. Even though I'm not white and it doesn't matter really. It's just
no, but you're right though. That is the culture of like what we have to deal with in today's society.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is its own kind of bigotry, right? That, especially because a lot of the time, for whatever reason, it's usually individuals of some minority that seem to get this pass, which I think is a really a kind of soft bigotry.
It is bigotry, absolutely.
Because they are trying to assert that they need to be, like, just black people in general just need to be protected.
It's shit like that led to massive grooming gangs in the United Kingdom because people were afraid of being called racist. It's the reason why, with knife crime on the rise, sod all is being done about it, because who is committing the majority of those crimes is the problem. And they're unwilling to tackle the core issue of it. It's not race, but it's brought on because people segregate by race, while simultaneously claiming to be multicultural and tolerant and diverse. Cultural fabric is enriched. Basically, it's code for get blacked. It's the same shit. You're afraid to say what needs to be said or do what needs to be done. Simple as, and this is not a racial thing. If you want people to be treated the same or equally and fairly, stop excluding yourselves or stop walking away from the conversation. Stop posturing and acting like you are some kind of hero, standing up against the dreaded white people when you're not adding anything to the discussion. You are remarkably reductive and you are disingenuous because you're not looking for a solution to help. You are looking instead to create more problems.
Amen, brother.
Can I get a... Oh, no, I can't be asked for that shit.
But you are correct. You are correct.
It's
100%. Yes. Well, I think that with what we have seen in all of the relative bullshit, and usually it is just a series of see, the grooming gang thing is so strange to me because I don't know like how in the world anybody, especially like your Metropolitan Police, like sit there and go, yeah, that's fine.
They're not the Metropolitan. Just to be clear, they're the police mostly for London. Scotland Yard also not really that involved outside. So regional police are the problem. They're the ones hired by the councils. They're the ones that metropolitan police, cities. A lot of these places weren't cities. They were places where we sent migrants that weren't vetted properly, who got into the system under Labour, when Labour were in office long ago. They got in there and they brought their families. They didn't contribute. They didn't work. But there were people who did. I've always shown a considerable amount of compliment towards those from Eastern Europe, hardworking and just want a better life to work and drink and have fun and love life. I couldn't give a fuck about them because they're fantastic, quite frankly. But there are some people who came here that were economic migrants, and those people are the ones that had a proclivity. They were remarkably insidious. They got in and they brought more people in, and they did not do anything to the country beyond harming people based on vulnerability and race. Vast majorities of these victims were very vulnerable, disabled in some manner, usually a mental disability of some kind. White girls that were underage. Some of them had multiple children because they were passed around like a joint in a prison. This is not... The police turned a blind eye to it. It was like when Jimmy Savile did all his crap. Everyone turned a blind eye at it because no one knew how to deal with it. And I'm like, but bitch tits, how do you handle that? Simple. This is a book called The Lair. Go use it on them. And when they accuse you of racism, show them the page that says it's not okay to nonce a child.
Our society has gotten to the point, though, that they genuinely believe that if you fit a certain box, that you don't have to follow laws. Laws don't apply to you.
That's
that's why you see so many people stacking on all these undiagnosed mental illnesses on their Twitter bios.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like
you know exactly why they have it.
They use WebMD. The bloody I can't stand that shit.
Yeah, you know why? It's so that they can be excused for the shitty behavior that they exhibit.
I saw YouTuber Nick Avocado Mukbang. I was researching him yesterday for a topic, and he mentioned my BPD was acting up the other day. I had real bad BPD, and I'm like, fam, no, you're on your period. Shut up. You don't unless you're diagnosed with BPD. Stop using it like it's some kind of one-dimensional like crutch. And just to address something in the chat here, who cares if they work if they send the wealth out of the country? If you work and send your money out of the country after you paid your taxes on it, I couldn't care less. It's your money to do with as you see fit. If you come to this country, you leech off the benefit system and send that money abroad, which a lot of people have done. Romanian not. Romanian are included on that one, I know. Then you're a shit person. But they did it because they were able to take advantage of a system in place that has for generations been remarkably broken. Even when they have tried to fix it, they have broken it even further. But if you work in this country and you send your money away, which I'm impressed you do in the first place considering the cost of living, all power to you. Because you're sending it to people no doubt that you want to help. And I take no issue with that. It's like charity, and I don't care. Hell, when I worked, I used to send money home to my sisters and my mum. Back when I was in Norwich, I'd send it here for them because they were struggling. It's the same kind of concept, and you do for family.
And that's not even like the biggest problem, because realistically, the reason why those people get those jobs is because of a combination of factors, because we have that obviously in America all the time, right? But it's a combination of factors. One, they're jobs people don't want to do. And second of all, they actually work under the table, usually for less money than we are legally allowed to be paid. I mean Americans.
So the first one is actually very true here. When I worked for a phone repair company in Norwich called Anovo, the majority of the workers, of 700 workers, the majority were not English. There was about 50 English people that worked there of 700. Okay, I was one of those people. And the reason why is because many of the English did not want to do the job. I got offered the chance to train for 2 weeks to do the job. And I was like, yeah. So I did it. And when I was talking to these guys, most of them were learning English. So I taught them English. Because like, I want to get on with you guys. Teach me some Polish. Teach me Hungarian. Teach me a little Slovakian. There was a few other languages, Lithuanian as well, and I couldn't be asked. But it was like they were willing to do a job that no one else was willing to do. And as far as I'm concerned, you're putting money into my country's system, you're contributing, so crack on, have fun with your life. And then they introduced me to drinks that I'd never had before, like Unicum and Stalaposka. Unicum is the Hungarian version of Jägermeister, which tastes like window cleaner, but it's all right. And Stalaposka is absolute blasphemy. But it exists. And Zubrovka, the Polish version of vodka, goes very well with grape juice. These cultural differences are very interesting, and learning about it from people who are trying to be a part of your country is it's a level of integration that I grew to appreciate, because I will admit, before working there, I was a bit apprehensive. But not because I was afraid of them or because I was because I wanted to know if they actually were working, if they were contributing to our country. They were. And I liked it. I liked that. There are some people, though, that weren't, and many of them that were eventually arrested in my country weren't working. They were living in houses filled with 20 to 30 people, and they were creating a network using crappy WhatsApp chats and email groups and Skype groups before Discord. And they were doing horrendous things, and our country turned a blind eye and let down thousands of people. That kind of crap still persists to this day in those instances where you've seen people be assaulted on trains, because some people get a pass, and that's not acceptable. Another TED Talk. And you mentioned in the chat, Chaos, Chan, Chris. Yeah, didn't get prosecuted. Yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting. It'll happen eventually. Out of curiosity, okay, so I have questions then about what happens next to these guys. Are they on bail? Do they get to go somewhere, or are they staying? Are they held? Do we know?
Which ones are you asking about?
The guys that were arrested for choking out the Michael Jackson impersonator.
Not sure. Likely they'll have to post bail, and then once he posts bail, then we get to see what happens after that. But as of right now, I don't think we have any updates on like what that case is looking like. Though I'm going to look it up right now.
I can't imagine it's going to look good.
I mean, I can't imagine it's moved that far either.
I don't want it to be like another one of these cases where, and I've done it with. That's why I've been doing shorts on the Halls of Injustice YouTube channel. There are cases I've got that have been going on for years and nothing has happened.
Well, I don't think that they're going to be able to put this one out. Let's see, Daniel Penny. Let's see here. So, 2 days ago, it says why prosecutors waited before they charged Daniel Penny. Oh, fuck off, New York Times. I know that there are some witnesses. A witness recently came up and said that he was a hero, and they are witnessing. They are going to be a witness for the crime.
Oh, really?
Yes. So Nikki Haley says governor of New York should pardon Daniel Penny. What we know about the Marine Corps vet. Yeah, they're still investigating right now, so he doesn't have much.
This sounds highly exciting, then, that we have nothing so far, and it will probably end up being one of those things that takes a while.
Well, it's another Alvin Bragg fucking issue. So I mean, it's just the same shit again.
Oh, really? Only the white guy got charged, and he turned himself in. Hang on, is that really what happened?
Yeah, he turned himself in.
Only the white guy.
I mean, he is white, yeah.
What about the other two? Did they hand themselves in?
No.
Oh, well, then this is even more interesting. I can't see this going far. Any decent system, so not would surely not necessarily throw it out. There is possibly some responsibility there, but I don't believe it's on the level that you've explained it to be to me of second-degree manslaughter. I don't. I'm not convinced that is the correct charge. But they were in context. Also, it's not accidental. It wasn't. No, it was restraining somebody without knowing context. It happens all the time. It's a case of I'm not going to know everyone's individual health record, his medical history if you restrain somebody. Simple, I'm not going to know if they're.
And also, not only that, but like, Crime Stoppers is a thing in most places.
Isn't that a TV show?
Well, yes, but it's also based on the idea that there's Crime Watch signs in certain neighborhoods in the U.S., and it's basically just people saying like, "Oh yeah, if you see something, say something."
Yeah, true, very true. There actually, I'm kind of curious. I will admit I am as curious to know how this ends as the Danny Masterson second trial, which I'm still waiting for the verdict. Second trial, it should be interesting.
Yes, quite.
How many trials can you do on the same charge with a mistrial being the first result? If it keeps getting mistrialed, why don't you just walk away?
Yes, eventually.
Oh, good.
The problem with doing, if they're criminal trials, I think you get one more shot. I think after a mistrial you get one more shot, and then after that you incur double jeopardy, which is the idea that you can't be held in jeopardy for the same problem.
So in the UK, this is a fun fact. We had double jeopardy laws here until Stephen Lawrence got murdered. Now the thing about this is, a number of the people who were charged were not found guilty, but the courts and the police and the government believed they were guilty so much they changed the rules to get them back in prison.
Was he guilty?
I don't know. They might have been. The problem is, by taking away a fundamental principle of double jeopardy, you have now made it so that you will go for guilt even if there's a slither of a hope they're not guilty, that they are not guilty, because you want them guilty. You are looking for guilt, and that obviously is the point of prosecution. But if they failed in the first trial, that sounds like a them problem.
Yes, true. I think so too.
I do not agree in removing the ability, the principles of a double jeopardy. I really don't agree with that.
Oh yeah, your government should not be able to constantly have this looming threat of, hey, you were acquitted or mistrial or whatever. We're gonna do it again and again and again and again until we fucking get you.
Yeah. Let me just look it up. Stephen Lawrence murders. So we had David Norris convicted of murder. No, there was something about it because I swear they did change the law. Death was exsanguination. Damn, that's something.
Yeah.
Okay, so they, after further review in 2011, they stood trial in light of new evidence, but the original acquittal was quashed by the Court of Appeal, allowing for a retrial to take place. But he was not the first person to be retried for murder as a result. They changed the law in 2005 to allow for them to do this. To allow for that's not how this works. I think it's I obviously, if they're guilty, they're guilty, but you fucked it the first time.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it though. You fucked it. No, you don't get a do-over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they shouldn't get do-overs at all, in my opinion. Because I mean, if it's a real problem, the people will sort it out. Kind of like how you remember when the Boston bomber,
I remember
thing,
that, yeah.
and the people of Boston were like, no, let him out. No worries, we got it. And the perp was like, could you not let me out? Actually, there's a group of angry Bostonians outside, and I don't feel safe. Oh really, fucker? Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I fancy that.
They got very long, very lengthy sentences. These kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. I'm not a fan. But I don't. Again, I think at least we agree on this. I think the Scottish have it right with differentiating between not guilty and not proven. So that's a very important point because we don't do that here.
The thing is, as long as you keep the idea that you are innocent until proven guilty, I'm fine with it.
So that's
because
where. Carry on. Sorry.
Because if you have to prove that you didn't do something,
yeah,
I mean that's literally impossible. Like, how do I tell you that I just wasn't there? Like, I was in my house, no one saw me. I was in my house. What the fuck you want?
So my issue is you're right, and that people are now intentionally doing this to find guilt. But the way that the Stephen Lawrence original trial was handled was terrible. Of course it was. It was not handled very well in the slightest, okay? But that does not justify removing rights to do it. Yeah, it doesn't. It's or changing the law to suit what you want. That feels very shenanigans.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with the thought of shenanigans.
I don't like shenanigans.
No, I'm not a big fan.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to talk about for the rest of the stream, or would you like to end here at the 1 hour?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
You know me, I gotta go get my peoples.
You do. Okay. Well, are you here next week?
Should be.
Sweet.
Yeah, I am.
2 in a row, everyone. Fantastic. This will be up on Spotify tomorrow, which will be sexified by yours truly. Do keep your eyes peeled for that if you do follow us on Spotify. If you don't, and you have Spotify, follow us there. The platform is another avenue for us to explore, and we'd like to try and grow there a little. Thank you for joining us. We shall be back then next week. Say goodnight, Trups.